My name is Sally Cheung, and I'm the Education Coordinator for Wild Ontario, and we're right at the University of Guelph. Alright, so at Wild Ontario, we like to think of us as a three-part program. So a third of our program is we do outreach education programs. We travel across Ontario teaching people about nature and science. The other third of our program is we are an experiential learning opportunity for University of Guelph students. So all of our team of 40 volunteers are students at the University of Guelph, and they get to work hands-on with the birds that we work with. They just gave away the other third. And they learn about animal training and how to do outreach as well. And then the last third is we are a home for non-releasable birds of prey. So all of these birds come to us because they've either been injured or they've been taken from the wild and illegally kept as pets. But we give them a new job. We take them in, we provide them with a great home, and we do a lot of training with them so that they can travel with us to schools and to teach kids and everybody across the province about birds, and they get to see, a red-tailed hawk up close or a great horned owl up close. So all the birds that we work with are raptors, and we have a whole range of birds that we work with, from little owls like a saw-whet owl to a big great horned owl. And we work with hawks as well, like broad-winged hawks and red-tailed hawks, and falcons as well. So we have kestrels and gyrfalcons. Well, I don't think there's any such thing as a typical week. Technically, I'm supposed to work 35 hours a week, but it depends on the season and it depends on how busy we are doing education programs. So in the summer, if we're really booked full, I could be working more than 35 hours a week. And in the winter, when it's not as busy, I might be only doing 20. And it kind of all makes, it kind of equals out in the end, at the end of the year. So there's no such thing as a typical workday, but it depends. So if there's a day I'm doing education programs, I'm at our facility, I'm loading birds into crates, and we're traveling anywhere across Ontario, and we do presentations and education programs for kids that are at a school or at a park. And that sometimes involves a lot of driving, and that sometimes, a lot of the times, involves a lot of talking to the public. Other days when we're not doing education programs, it can involve a lot of animal care. So that includes some dirty work, like cleaning up some poop, or cutting up some chicken and mice and feeding it to the birds. And we do a lot of training sessions with them as well, preparing them to do the education programs when the time comes. When we take in a crew of new volunteers, we do a lot of training with them as well. When our student volunteers that are all University of Guelph students join the program, a lot of them have no idea how to train a bird or what to do with a bird or do any education program as well. So we do a pretty intensive volunteer training program. It takes them about 3 to 4 months until we kind of let them go on their own, which involves teaching them about animal care, teaching them about bird behavior and bird body language, teaching them about animal training, and teaching them about science communication, so how to talk to kids and how to talk to adults about nature, birds, and stuff like that. And then other days I'm doing a lot of admin stuff, so sitting on a computer and sending emails, organizing education programs, and booking those as well. So I went to the University of Guelph and I majored in wildlife biology and conservation. And then I graduated from that program and started working ever since. While I was studying wildlife biology at the university, I actually started volunteering. I was one of the student volunteers at Wild Ontario, and that's where I got most of my experience learning how to do animal training and nature education as well. After I graduated, I didn't do a master's or a PhD or anything. I kind of just found a whole bunch of experiences that I could do and throw myself at. to learn from different people about how to do better bird training and how to do better nature outreach. So I worked at the Guelph Arboretum, learning how to teach kids about nature, and that really helped me in this field, obviously. And then I also worked at another facility doing a lot of animal care, so learning more about animal training and animal care as well. Yeah, so I think there's a whole wide range of skills that are required. I think a very big thing is obviously communication. I'm communicating the education programs. I'm talking to people and teaching them about science concepts and bird biology. So being able to translate that into things that a kindergarten understands, all the way up to using terms that a high school student would gain knowledge from. And then I think another big skill is also being observant. When you're doing animal care stuff, you always have to be able to pay attention and to be able to focus on the bird themselves, and being able to understand what they're communicating to you so that you get the best training and the best behavior from the bird as well. That's probably a difficult one to pick. Some days I really enjoy teaching kids about nature and seeing their faces when a red-tailed hawk comes out into the crowd and they get to see some big raptor right up close, walking through their classroom, which is kind of cool. And I really find working with the birds quite enjoyable as well. Working on training and being able to see maybe a new bird that comes into the program, learning all these behaviors and becoming more and more comfortable in crowds of people, because that means they're ready to go out and to teach people about their wonderful species. For me personally, the most challenging part is probably the admin stuff. I always like to be on my feet and doing things hands-on. So sometimes when I have to sit at a desk and send some emails, I find that quite challenging. But when I first started doing work in this field, I found public speaking very challenging. I had a really hard time standing in front of a room of 100 people and me being the only speaker on this stage. I found that really scary. But the more I did it, the more comfortable I got with it, and the more enjoyable it became. Seeing people react to the things you say and seeing people being inspired by the birds that come out was very rewarding, and it made public speaking much easier from then on. A lot of people want to work with birds. So I think there's a lot more people than there are job opportunities, which is just how it is. But there are, opportunities for volunteering. So I like to think if I didn't end up here, I might be, still doing nature education and volunteering and being able to work with the birds hands-on. Because, that's like a really cool part of the job for sure. And so there are a lot of people out there that want to kind of go into this field, but definitely not as many opportunities as there are people interested. This job is unique because it combines animal care and education, and is a coordinator position as well. But a lot of people, when they start off in this field in relation to this job, they're either doing just animal care or maybe doing outdoor education without hands-on animal work. And so depending on the job itself and which aspect you're focused on, the salary range for sure can depend on that. So when I worked at an animal care facility, I was basically getting paid minimum. But there are facilities that do nature education and outdoor programs that will pay, up to $21 an hour or so. I think big part of it doing nature education and inspiring people to care about nature. That plays a big role in climate action change and conservation. I think in order for people to want to make a change and want to help nature, they have to care about nature. And so I think a big part of us, or my job, by bringing people or bringing the birds out to programs and people getting to see these wild animals face to face, they're making these connections with the birds, and then they start to realize that, hey, on a walk the other day, I saw a red-tailed hawk flying over me, and that means these wild animals are living all around us, and we are sharing their spaces, or they're sharing their spaces with us, actually. And so once people kind of start to understand that, you know, they're kind of all connected in the natural world, I think that's when they start to care about these issues like climate change and wanting to make a change in their personal lives to make the planet healthier and to live a more sustainable life. Yeah, for sure. So you can, if you want to learn more about the program, you can check us out at wildontario.ca, or we're on all the social media platforms, so Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. You can reach out to us there, or you can shoot me an email. My email is also on the website as well, but it's just scheung@wildontario.ca.